The concept being applied here is pretty simple. Put a kapu, or a ban, on the taking of fish that eat algae so that the coral on these reefs can survive and multiply. In ancient times, good management was a matter of survival for the Hawaiian people.
The only reason we're showing you this beautiful, critically endangered hawksbill turtle is that it happens to be the first we've ever videotaped and seen in Hawaii. She was leisurely cruising and posing for tourists in the Kahekili Herbivore Fisheries Management Area in West Maui. I don't think many folks in the water this day realized what she is and how rare an event it is to spot a hawksbill in the water. The state of Hawaii, the West Maui community, and a couple of non-government organizations made this project possible. Liz Foote and the Coral Reef Alliance have put a lot of man-hours into this project. She gave us an update on what's been happening since we last visited.
Well, it's been a couple years since you checked in with our program, the Ka'anapali Makai Watch program. There's been a lot of community involvement. Our efforts have really been focused on promoting voluntary compliance at the site, so getting more people involved, helping to promote the rules, make it fun, have events and opportunities for people to get involved and help out with community-based monitoring, education and outreach, and ways to really involve people and spread the word about what this area is and why it's in place.
As we mentioned earlier, the goal is to revitalize reefs in this management area by protecting algae-eating fish and urchins. Limu, or algae eaters, maintain a balance between the coral and harmful algae by eating them.
Well, since the site's been in place, it's been 4 years now for the Kahekili Herbivore Fisheries Management Area, and we've seen more people get involved and show support for the site in different areas through our citizen science efforts with Division of Aquatic Resources, through outreach and education, attending the public events we've been doing, and just generally understanding the area and helping to share about it and promote it, and following the rules, which is good. We're finding more people come here knowing that it exists and what the rules are and why they should follow them.
I think another way to describe what is being done here is to say that the challenges to this area are being addressed collectively. It's a Mauka to Makai, or mountains to the sea, holistic approach.
The Kahekili Herbivore Fisheries Management Area is a unique, really innovative type of protected area where just a certain type of marine species is protected, the types of fish and urchins that eat seaweed. So it's a new concept. We need those fish and those urchins to be doing their job, from reducing the algae population. We're working on a lot of efforts up Mauka, addressing land-based pollution and all the impacts from land that is promoting the algae to grow out offshore. So by combining fisheries management and working on bolstering the herbivore populations while we work on taking care of some of these issues on land, we hope that the reef can recover in this holistic manner.
Tova Tollender is the West Maui Watershed and Coastal Management Coordinator. She works on land issues that affects reefs. One of the many projects she's working on are rain gardens.
So one of the practices identified in the plan is using rain gardens, like we have here. A rain garden is an intentionally placed shallow depression that you plant with native plants, and it allows for retention and infiltration of stormwater from an impervious surface. So in the case here, it's coming both from the shower as well as from the impervious roof and parking lot area above it. So this is one example of a low-impact design that we feel, if adopted widely in West Maui, would start taking a bite out of treating the polluted runoff issue that we have. That's one of many factors negatively impacting our coral reef health in the area.
red imported fire ants and biting sandflies, just two of the many invasive pests that could damage the ecosystem, economy, and our health if they ever arrived in Hawaii. How could this happen? Our islands receive cargo every day that could easily conceal unwanted pests. Early detection is our best defense. Report unusual insects to the Pest Hotline, 643-PEST. Stop the silent invasion. Report a pest. Hawaii's reefs are home to a dazzling array of marine life. But in some areas, invasive snowflake coral and alien seaweeds are spreading silently, devastating the marine ecosystem. There are ways you can help protect our reefs. Don't spread invasive seaweed. Clean your gear of all seaweed before moving to another spot. And never dump your aquarium. Help protect Hawaii, because a living reef gives our islands life.
One of the lessons learned from this project is that communities, if approached with a proper amount of respect, will usually recognize that challenges and problems exist with our ocean resources, and then do the right things to make it better.
Several organizations helped to make this project a reality. Darla White, a biologist with the Department of Aquatic Resources, is one of the many stewards caring for this important place.
So the Kahekili Herbivore Fisheries Management Area is a unique strategy that was put in place to help stop a reef that's in rapid decline. We've seen this reef degrading over a very short period of time in the life of a coral. Herbivores, or herbivorous fish, are fish that eat algae or seaweed. Out on the reef, there's a very delicate balance that needs to be maintained, and fish have a very important role in maintaining that balance. Corals grow very, very slowly. Algae grows very, very quickly. If you have a good population of fish out there, they keep that natural balance. When you remove the fish, things get out of balance. So here, what we're essentially doing is trying to restore that balance by protecting the fish that eat the algae. Early data that we've seen here in the last 4 years indicates that things are working. We're seeing more parrotfish, and it is strongly correlated to an increase in crustose coralline algae, which is exactly what we're hoping to see with this management strategy. So early indications are good. Keep our fingers crossed. Things in the environment happen slowly. We really don't expect to see any prominent changes for about a decade. This particular reef has a lot of resilience factors. The fish are going to be a very, very prominent part of that resilience factor. We do know that we have good currents and water motion here, which corals really love. We have coral recruitment, so we see small baby corals growing and becoming established on the reef. We see crustose coralline algae increasing in prominence on the reef. All of these things are indicators of reef resilience and a reef's ability to rebound from stresses. So we're working on the local stresses in a number of ways, both through fisheries management, through watershed management, through working with the county on the wastewater management that's influencing this particular habitat. And all of these things are going to add up to helping this reef against global pressures of climate change and ocean acidification, warming oceans, temperatures, things that are less under our control than the local stressors.
Local boy Russell Sparks helped to create a bond and partnership with community folks and the different organizations.
When we talk about marine managed areas and protecting certain species from fishing, we oftentimes alienate the fishing community right off the bat. And we didn't want to do that because this really wasn't about fishing being bad. This was about the important role certain fish play on the reef to maintain a healthy ecosystem. So one of the things we did is we worked with our counterparts at Historic Preservation, and we identified key longtime Hawaiian fishing families from the area who use this area, who grew up in this area, and their families grew up in this area, and they fished, for subsistence purposes. So we identified these families, and we started meeting with them and discussing them and showing, the data and expressing our concerns. And for the most part, right off the bat, they jumped on board and they said, yeah, that makes sense. We do need to do something, and we support, and we're willing to sacrifice our fishing in this area for these particular species for the long-term protection of the reef. Next step was to work with the broader community of fishers around the island. So we work with a lot of spear fishermen. What we found is with the spear fishermen, when we were talking about invasive algae and the effects it has on the reef, they immediately understood that, because these are fishermen that are in the water every day. They see the coral, they see how the fish utilize the coral, they see the effects of this invasive seaweed when it's growing on the reef. So they understood what we were talking about, and the whole idea of, hey, well, you need more grazing fish, And from there, we went a little further statewide, presenting our information and discussing it at conservation conferences and things of that sort. But by the time we were actually moving forward with formal rules and going to public hearings, the entire state was aware of what was going on and the justification for it. And the community, particularly the local families, were very supportive of it, and people realized that and they understood that. When the community itself feels that they had a really critical role in developing that management plan, then they're going to come to bat and they're going to support it through the process. So, that would be my biggest word of wisdom to anyone else attempting to do something like this.